There we go. So I guess we'll start episode one. Uh, Whoever's in the live thing at the moment, yeah, welcome to episode one. And hopefully it goes on without any hitch. You probably know who I am, but if you don't, my name is Matt. I'm Matt Carr from Two Hit Studio. We're a two-man game dev studio. You can catch us on Twitter at catch me on Twitter at Two Hit Matt. My brother Two Hit Adams on there too, and our website's twohitstudio.com. Uh, let's see. Well, aside from making games, I do art, so I sort of do both in the team. And um, you can check out my gallery, portfolio, mattconcepts.com. And if you want like regular updates, my Patreon's there as well. So, what are we gonna do? So, I'll do a quick introduction of what the series is about. So, basically, we're gonna cover concept art for a couple of episodes, or many probably episodes, but occasionally slip in a bunch of design and then slowly get into implementation, final assets, final code, hopefully final game. And I imagine it's going to take many, many episodes to get there. That's alright, you got to start somewhere. So in tonight's episode, we're just going to be covering just an intro, like what the game's about, the world, characters, whatnot. And the second half of the episode is going to do a character outfit redesign. Yeah, so that should be fun. Hopefully I get a lot of art done during that part, so you can see some of the skills, aside from just the intro stuff, which is probably going to be a bit ambitious to get through. So the type of artwork we're going to be producing throughout this will be very similar to this. So this is stuff I've been doing recently, so hopefully the art we get done in the hour-long episodes is somewhat useful. We'll get over to that later. This is old art now. Yeah, references though. Let's jump back here. Alright. So, we go to the intro. So, the point of this project is I've been working on this thing called Fate's End for ages, and it's sort of a cyberpunky type world where a number of characters get involved and they deal with the sort of robots, monsters, all that sort of thing, and eventually get into some supernatural themes and some other heavy stuff. So it's sort of like ghetto, samurai, cyberpunk feels. So the intention of the project was to be a comic at first, and it's had like 3 runs, and I'm not as happy as I should be for those. So, like, comics and stuff, I don't get enough time to just sit there and smash them out. So they're just a landmark of how bad my art was for me back then when I look at it. Whereas a game for me is something that I can always appreciate when I go back and play it, because I can really just enjoy it for what it is. Which is why we're going to go from the original comic book story to a game instead. So that's the intention. So what things have been concepted already in this world? Well, here's one of the characters. I'll explain her later. The world has monsters. It's got soldiers. It's got... I think I'll draw this stuff as we're doing it. That'll be more fun. Yeah, chuck this on. Just setting up a little high-res sort of image quickly that I can draw on top of. Alright, so what do we got? So this world's got... we got monsters. Big nasty teeth guys, so they're just part of the world, and also part of the supernatural world that I mentioned as well. So That's gonna be fun. I don't have many of these guys designed up really at the moment, so I want to flesh out a whole world worth of monsters that we'll need for this project. So they're gonna be fun. This little guy I'm drawing here, he's just a stalker. So we got monsters. Let's just smack in some color. Yeah, good old monsters. So, yeah, because the world's full of monsters, we got people carry weapons around pretty normally. It's not an unheard of thing. This isn't like this isn't the level of art we're going to be doing. Just so I can quickly show you a glimpse of what we got. All right, so we got monsters. Cool. We got robots and mechs. So I was actually drawing one of the mech kind of designs before this stream started. So let's have a look at that one. That was this guy here. So he's one of the sort of opposing sides, big mech robot. So his inside would be a little pilot guy. So probably like little guy inside here going, I'm driving this. But I better close that, not wreck that. Okay, so we got robots and mechs, lots of droids, cyborgs, those types of things. Pretty much all the cool stuff from cyberpunk stuff. Cyberpunk Japan. Alright, pretty nasty. Yeah, you would have seen one of these guys around, hopefully, if you follow me already. Just quickly draw it up. Little octopods. They're like just little sort of utility robots. They can bring ammo. They can do like weak firepower. We'll have droids and all sorts of military. Big like four-legged tank thing. So part of it's going to be designing more robots and machinery and cyborg stuff as well in this series, which will be fun. Yeah, big assault rifle thing in the back there. Yeah, so as I mentioned, like it's not a very safe world. So most people carry around like some sort of weapon. We got guns, swords, good old katana type of thing. That type of stuff. Carrying around weapons is always fun. Alright, and get over this stuff quickly. Okay. You sort of get the idea. What else we got? We sort of got different races as well. Well, not races, sort of like different teams. So world, we got lower continent, just split up. You got the Jurtons living here. Jurtons are sort of a neutral state full of black market guys and um, well, it's where you get illegal stuff, but they stay out of the war. You got the Cajuns over here, which is where our main guys are gonna live here in this big city called Hope City, where all the bounty hunting, corruption, all kinds of messed up stuff happens all the time there. We've got these little islands, they're all Jurton related islands, and then you got the I can never remember how I spell that. The Altesians over here. And these guys don't like these guys. So I've already got a drawing of what a Altesian soldier looks like, which is over here. So they gear up pretty heavy, dark, bright eyes. They're a very religious state. So they're pretty rough. And then you got the other guys, the Cajun soldiers, so they're a bit more, I guess they're a bit more like us, if you're sort of like a bit more open-minded, any religion sort of goes, but it's their government and stuff that sucks instead, and not like their religious side of things. He looks more robot-y than he should, but it's just a guy in a basic sort of SWAT gear kind of stuff, really. So these are guys walking around Hope City a lot, which is also a problem. So Hope City, which is where the main characters live, it's one of those places that should be run by some sort of you know um, some sort of local state government type thing, but then instead they've let the military run it, so it's slowly falling to shit. A lot of the money's going to military effort instead. Just dumb. So what they do to sort of cover the whole not having enough resources to manage the city is that they employ bounty hunters, so which is where our main characters sort of come in. So as I said, this is stuff that's already been pre-concepted, so this stuff already exists. This project's been running around for that long that there's going to be a lot. So who are the main characters? Well, this is going to be rough. We're going to be going over these in more detail. So we got Ray, sort of our main guy. He's going to be the guy we're going to be redesigning a bit today. So he's bounty hunter. He's sort of not good at meeting people. Not exactly the most social guy. So he's sort of good at his job, but he's a bit lonely. Talk more about him soon. He's a sword guy. Oh yeah, swords are pretty good. They're not like shit in this world because, you'd be like, oh, wouldn't you get a gun if you could? No, these swords, like, you got the tech to do, like, get the blade down to a nano something, something tiny, so that nearly like atom size, so you can just cut through anything. You still get, smashed by bullets, but, you get the idea. This stuff will do more damage on robots and stuff, swords, than the guns probably would. So we got Ray. Jess already showed you. She got redesigned earlier this year. Yeah, she sort of the, I guess, lightweight ninja type character in the group, but she was kind of not very interesting before that. So she's been like reworked so many times, and this year she's just finally just gone like ninja type mechanics. So she's met like robot arm here. So these two are like sort of besties, bounty hunters. She's got those little like jogger shoes that don't have laces, so she can run heaps good. She actually has a octopod of her own. Drawing circles heaps quick just makes them look dumb. Yeah, so her redesign, if I can find it, was she looks like this now. I'll dig up the old one. My brother's asking me if wasn't Wonder Woman's sword like an atom thin at the edge? I don't know. I thought she had a whip and which couldn't be ever broken. If you know the answer, let me know, because I'm not really comic like superhero type person, so I don't know. Better keep moving on characters, because at the halfway point, which is 10:30 coming up soon, I'm gonna have to move on to the next part of the stream. The other character we got, so these two bounty hunters. The other character, so there's three main characters, is Rudy. Now Rudy, he's a sort of a weird mix to throw in with these guys as a friend, but he's he's a ganger, I guess technically. He's sort of like your Vince or whatever from Pulp Fiction. So he was part of a gang, and then he screwed up, and that gang's like, hey, well, you know what? You pissed off this other gang, and they want your head, and we don't want you either. So we're gonna try to kill you. So he's had both his own gang after him, and the gang that he pissed off. And his story is that it was like bumping into Ray and his help and stuff. They sort of beat both gangs. So even though a ganger and a bounty hunter would not normally team up, these two have. So, oh yeah, he's the gun guy in the group. You always need a gun guy. He goes Jules. I'll just slap him on. All the guns in this world can be. I was gonna have them all like graded, and they'll have different colors based on the grade. But I think I've changed that to be more. You have your graded weapon, so it's pay more, get a better weapon kind of deal. But you also decide the fancy, flashy fluoro color that it's going to be as well. So it's like custom. You can, we all like stylize our phones and stuff. It's the idea with that, but with all your weapons, because weapons are so like frequent here. Okay, so Rudy's sort of a bit of an idiot, but you know you like him because he gets himself in trouble. He has loose morals, that kind of stuff. He'll get these characters involved in more dangers than not, but also he's a pretty good character to keep around as well. And he's Rudy red hair. Alright, what's this? How are we doing? 21? Okay, so we got some characters. Pretty nasty looking. Alright, so all this stuff already exists and has been existing for a long time and just slowly making its way through revisions after revision after revision. Uh, so what kind of bad guys can we deal with? Well, part of this thing was that I was trying to flesh out this world so much that I ended up making a break the G um role playing game for it. So there's a whole set of rules for this world that exists to help describe how it works and get that whole D&D vibe going. So I've actually playtested it quite a bit, so I can see that there's rules that back up this world and that works, and it's kind of nice to flesh out the world in terms of like RPG stats, which we'll be using in the game part of this series when we get onto describing that, which will be next week. So the original story was sort of very linear. Some stuff would happen, some bad guys in the city, etc. But part of this redesign is I want a lot of the events to happen in the city. Like there's still a linear storyline, but a lot of the events to happen in the storyline, you pick and decide. You kind of do like your own. You go, okay, I got me and a couple of mates, and all right, what are we gonna do? What's we're gonna play this game. We're gonna pick these little adventures along the way. So the kinds of stuff you'd want to see in like a cyberpunk world is what I'd want to throw at you. So you got like um, hackers and stuff who can like there's these robots everywhere, so like hackers are like really dangerous. They can hackers are dangerous because they can start like turning robots against you and screwing up your day, or just emptying your bank account, putting you on the bounty list even though you haven't done anything wrong, that sort of stuff. So I want you to deal with that sort of stuff. Um, you got your general sort of criminals like cyborg thugs and stuff. I made a big list of all like the cyberpunky stuff I wanted to have in this series, like potentially have in here. Prototype robots, stuff like that. So yeah, you got cyborg thugs. You got your prototype robot type things. Like that's always fun. Like, oh shit, some crazy robots going inside terrorizing city. Hi, I'll be a client. Don't if you destroy it, please don't say we made it. Like, oh, okay, something like that. Throw you into like those nasty, um, there's like horrible hostage situations and stuff like that. What else we got? We got lots of things. There's lots you can do with robots and hackers. Like you got mm, like control. These guys can control these dudes, or with robots and the internet, you got like the ghost in the machine concept. So like some dead guy starts like controlling computers around you and starts hassling you, like ha ha ha. You're like, oh shit, he's gonna turn the city against me. You got heist terrorism, you got your typical bounty hunts on people, illegal weapons, you got your gangers, you got the sex trade. Um, oh yeah, the other thing is like robots that have become sentient. Like, he's technically property of some company, but he's probably like, oh, please don't hand me in. What else? Oh yeah, and RoboCop concept, putting people's brains inside robots and using them to control it enough to make it like sort of smart AI, but you know, it's really a brain back there. Oh, you've speaking of AI, slash programmer, make so these guys could make viruses like hectic ones. Uh, Hack shit. All right, let me just change the color again. We'll go down. So the main bad guy be talking about next week. He'll be dealing with the supernatural aspects of this world. So he's gonna change in design, but he sort of drives the story along. Because he's gonna like pretty much try to break a hole in reality to try, you know, resurrect his dead girlfriend. So it's sort of a love story, except it's not your own. It's the bad guys, and you're trying to stop it from happening because the whole world's getting fucked up because the reality is getting destroyed by it. But we'll talk about this guy next week. He'll get a nice redesign, so I devote half the hour to making him look pretty. Uh, okay, we got 2 minutes till I get on to the next thing that I was going to do. This guy's got lucky. Next step. Oh my god. Yeah, so some people were mentioning that some of my stuff looks a bit Borderlandsy. The stuff that's inspired this, I guess, is a lot. It's because it's been brewing in my head for a long time. You just start slapping more references into it. So, yeah, there's Borderlands. There's a bit of Phantasy Star Online, the universe one. So, there's the weapons and some of the bots and stuff. Ghost in the Shell, the Miyazaki stuff. You can see all the robots have sort of a face. It doesn't move. It's sort of like that no face creature from Miyazaki. Um, Final Fantasy 7 definitely. Metal Gear Solid, of course, as well. Plus, I also mentioned in the chat Transistor. Definitely, that's a new one to add onto my belt. Oh, it's getting hot here. I'm just gonna take my jacket off. So I don't think he. Oh yeah, they're talking about the long jacket in the chat. That's actually gonna get axed in the next app. It's gonna be a lot smaller. It's pretty typical to have the giant jacket plus another character who I'll bring up later has a big jacket. So I'll introduce him later because he's awesome. Alright, what do we got? We got lots of stuff already. But we got a lot to make as well. Oh, just save that. What we got? Cool. Now we're gonna make a new file. Just gonna rotate. Yeah, I'll rotate this image. So part of the thing with concept art is that there's a massive misconception about it. Is that everything we see from big art AAA companies is that like really nice, pretty artworks, but that's actually promo art, and they just say, "Oh, it's concept art," but if they say that, and you're like, "Oh, this is the art that they use to like plan the game. The game's going to be awesome." It just gives that idea to it, but that's not quite correct. Um, concept art's more just give an idea, so like character idea, place, setting, lighting, mood, anything like that. It's just like the guts of it. But doing like really quick sketches could be cool, and I'll do it for some episodes. I'm gonna try and meet a sort of middle ground of semi-finished art and semi-quick concept art. So I've got to try to cover a lot in a short amount of time because I'm trying to keep this to an hour-long episode. I'm already 2 minutes cutting into this next section. Okay, so I mentioned the main character Ray is going to get a redesign. So he's already had a few redesigns up until now, but I like to keep it fresh. So this was 2012 or 13, I can't remember. So he's the one on the left. Wolf's the guy on the right with the big jacket that I mentioned. I'll tell you about later, but yeah, there he is. Anyway, so that was the original design for Ray over here. And then it shifted to this as a quick sketch, and I added color to it. I sort of wanted to go full jacket, change his colors out for something bright. And then I started making the comic, which you can check out at fatesend.com. It's getting canned, don't worry about it so much, but it's always good to like see what I've done. So that's something that already exists. It's like one chapter that's sort of gonna get canned. Some of the themes and characters will stay the same though. Here's a sort of concept in like game art for Ray at that point in time. Well, I figure we've already got Rudy from the series, the this guy here, the gangster guy, and he already wears black because he's in like a suit basically. So I wanted to change Ray quite a bit for this new version of things, the game. So I was actually going to ditch the jacket, and I'm going to have to use the internet for this. Hope it doesn't like smash me too bad. Hooded vest, I think is what I'm looking for. For dudes though. Oh, this is another part of concept art. Work from references wherever possible. I've seen these ones around a lot. They're designed for the Assassin's Creed sort of thing. But let's grab this guy. Thank you. So you're going to be our reference. Not the one on... yeah, the one on the left's also good. Alright. So, Ray's sort of our main character. He moves the story forward. He's the type of character who, even though he's sort of a bit lonely, he's because of that he's a bit he can be very focused on his work, which is sort of the bounty hunting thing. So he's actually quite good at what he does. Um, so in the original version of things, he just sort of what was I saying? Sorry, I'm just dealing with the chat a bit as well. Some people recognize me. Well, sorry, they knew me from before. Um, so his original character sort of got things going because he's just keep moving, keep working things out. But the other thing is, he sort of gets in the original story at least, he gets dragged along because that supernatural side of things I was mentioning, he sort of gets infected by a dark spirit, which sort of gives him fire powers, but that's sort of not good because then it's, people are like, he's a demon, we should kill him, or the army's gonna like grab you and like try to experiments on you so they can make fire dudes. Um, though, so the story moved along because the bad guys were trying to break the reality and do some crazy stuff. So he was more interested in chasing down those bad guys because he's curious about why the fuck he has these powers. But the new version of this um, storyline is that he doesn't get these powers till like halfway through the game after you've already been chasing the bad guys. So it's he he should just be able to move on with himself, and it shouldn't be about superhero type of storyline. I don't really see cyberpunk stuff as a superhero storyline, so I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, he will get fire powers, but it's going to be more of a hindrance than a good thing. Um, so what drives him in this one is more just like he just gets a personal vendetta, or you know, his character, like he's a bounty hunter. He just follow the job until it's done, and then starts realizing that the whole of the city is probably going to get destroyed if he doesn't try to get involved in it, because he's just sort of tracking this dude. And Jess, that female character I mentioned before, just keeps pushing him to do stuff. So the thing is, he's a very prone to depression guy. He doesn't have a lot going for him in terms of like social skills and stuff. So when he's not bounty hunting, he's at this one bar all the time, just because the bar owner sort of took him in, and semi father figure for him. Um, so he sort of like keeps kicking at the bar. So that's sort of the old Ray and why he sort of did things. But yeah, the new Ray, he's going to just get involved in the storyline properly and get involved in the supernatural stuff, like without without like an ulterior motive, like working out where his powers come from and all that nonsense. That way, I could always change it up and make it that the way you play the game. Maybe any of the characters can get that power, and make it very open-ended, sort of D&D sort of style. Um, oh, by the way, this level is the guidelines, so I'll make them smaller. I'm using a thick pen, as you can see. I don't know how well you can see that. I need to make it light, though, for this next phase. I need to make the head a lot smaller. So, the new Ray, he's still going to be like a bar kind of going guy. Oh, wait, that's a bit too small. But part of it is he goes to this bar, One, because he's not very socially good. Two, he's depressed a bit, so he, likes to drink. And the other thing is, because he can't sleep is the thing that I want to push in this one. Me and my brother not been getting much sleep lately, and it's sort of rubbed off on me. Um, so the type of he goes to this bar because occasionally this girl goes there who's a singer, and he's sort of he's a bit into her kind of thing. But he can't help it. Every time he like watches the gig, he fall asleep for some reason. So he sort of goes and watches these gigs to get some rest as well. So he's a bit useless. He needs the other characters to help him move along. That's that's sort of like the reasoning behind it. So his outfit change from a jacket to this hood thing is the choice is that he can flip the hood up and be very antisocial and just sit at the table by himself with a bourbon and coke and just sort of nod off and not like hoods up means I don't want to talk to you. The other thing is he's a bounty hunter, so it sort of slightly obscures his who he is from time to time. Naturally, I'll have his face out a lot in the game, but I think that I think he needs to have a bit of cover. Otherwise, wouldn't you like think in a world like similar to like this world, if you're doing something illegal and there was things like bounty hunters, wouldn't people just sort of get used to just tracking you, like working out who to avoid? Like in a world full of technology, we're eventually gonna get to a point where like you'll be tracking everyone, you'll be able to know where sort of what anyone's doing. So being a bit anonymous to some extent is sort of a bit of an advantage. Um, this I might scrap that already. Yeah. So I'm about to do the line art layer. I better do it quick too. Alright, line art layer. Alright, let's get it done quick. I can clean this up later. It's supposed to be concept arty. Hands, right? If you're here for the art side of things, break it up into sections as best you can. I'm not going to worry too much about how the hand looks right now. I can clean this up later. Um, but think of it as like break it into small shapes. You do that with everything if you're learning to draw certain shapes and things. Like I don't know, even really good artists still will break stuff up like that. Oh, the other reason I wanted to go to a vest was like the original design of this character way back here had that sort of like half jacket vest shirt thing. What the hell that is? I don't know. Sort of inspired like the Gundam Seed shirts, whatever those were. Um, but it showed off his arms, which he's he's not a light guy. He's supposed to be a bit heavy. Like he carries the biggest sword in the group, and um yeah, he's supposed to look a bit strong. Like he's not. He like self-train himself at home, but um, not go overboard, not gym junkie, because he's too busy hunting or trying to sleep at bars. Um, but yeah, I just want to show his arms again because I found like once I went to jacket, um, jacket like obscured it. It can just look like a big jacket. It doesn't really look like muscle. So I feel like part of the change in this is the the vest has a lot more advantages than you'd first sort of think. So it shows like, a quick distinction. You can go, okay, that guy is a stronger guy, so he's probably going to be the main fighter in my party. So I'll use him to dish out damage. He's going to be probably a bit slow, but that's what you expect. So I just want to make him a bit more character typed in that sense. Alright, should do his head. Oh yeah, even though Ray's a bit of a loser, his fighting's where he sort of shines anyway. So he'll enjoy fights at least. He's got that sort of Spanish dark skin as well. He's supposed to be from the other side of the sea, Altesian, even though he's living in a like Cajun city. Now I have to remember how to do his hair. Oh yeah, I learned this thing about hair ages ago. So to do hair, you sort of, if you're using a pen, hard to soft, and end on the points. Don't try to draw from the point up. You won't get the sharp edges, which like makes stuff look cool. Yeah, you can clearly see like where his like hairline thing. What do you call that? Center line down your head, where your hair splits. Yeah, it's straight down the middle for him. Well, slightly off center, but yeah. Let me undo a couple of steps. I want to fix that side up. All right. So I read that back in like How to Draw Manga book, like a billion years ago, and I don't know. Don't think I'm like the best manga type drawer, but it's still a good technique for drawing sharp hair. I'm just gonna knock that on there. I'll clean it up a bit later. So this is a line art layer, obviously, and I can be a bit loose with it, which is good because I intend to come back to it later and clean it up more after this session, actually. How the hell does? Okay, I'll work it out. Oh yeah, he's got like his shirt's got this big like exclamation marks point on the front of it. All right, so when I get down here, I can explain a few more things. So, he's the type of world that it is if you got weapons, guns and stuff, and all that stuff, guns, robots, stuff. Military doesn't really give a shit about you because they're running your state like an idiot. Means that life ain't worth that much. So if you do play Borderlands, you know that feel where you're like, like there isn't as big a stakes on your life, if you know what I mean. Um, like if you gunned down in the street, unless someone found you and cared about you, no one's really gonna care if you disappeared. So it's sort of that bit of lawlessness to it. Even though Ray's the main character, he will kill people. I'm not gonna go soft with this. It's the world that he lives in. So part of it is I want to let people work out who they want to kill in certain instances as well, because it could make interesting changes in the storyline. if you let certain characters live, even though it's the humane thing to do, they might bite you in the ass, or maybe it will be worth, you know, valuing someone's life temporarily in a world where no one gives a shit. Maybe it will actually be good. So yeah, Ray carries a gun as well. He's not a good shot. He's just lucky sometimes. So his pistol's probably gonna be on the other side. Uh, oh, he's got his straight. I don't know why, but from the original like character, he's got these like sort of gothic sort of strap things on his legs, and I don't know why he would have that stuff, um, but he's got him. Oh, I always draw this like those lines of where the stuff's sewn up together because ages ago there's this awesome sort of artist I looked up to for a little bit, and he did that, and I was just like, yeah, that looks really cool. Um, so I just chuck them in wherever I can now. Just an extra layer of detail is always good wherever you can, as long as it doesn't detract or distract. So, oh shit, just want to pull his cheek around a bit. He's not really a high cheek guy. All right. Wait a second. That hand's terrible. What time is it? Oh man, I got like 7 minutes to the end of this thing. It's probably gonna go a bit over. So his sword, which I'll just quickly go over, was gonna be made by his dad, who was a weapons guy and wasn't gonna go into production. These weapons, but I think I will run them in production. So they weren't going to go into production, but I think will let them go in production. But he's got the prototype of that blade, so it's like, even though it's a prototype, it's a badass prototype. Like, oh yeah, we'll make this really good one, and hopefully we can sell it as an idea, like to weapons people, and they'll like buy our idea, and we'll make heaps of money. So yeah, other people can get these weapons, these types of swords as well, but they look different. Um, and the name of them is lances because they're like big chunky weapons. It's can't see so much here because it's behind him. All right, we better get into color. All right. Okay, so with line art, change the layer blending type to linear burn. Knock it down a little bit. Cool. We don't need the guidelines so much anymore. Oh, probably draw the rest of the jacket underneath. Okay, colors. Now, work out where your character is, I guess, first. So I've got him in a city at night type of deal. I'm gonna use a big, square, chunky brush. And I'll probably use that for the rest of the picture, actually. You got that back there. The other thing about this game is that I like color, so there's going to be a lot of it in there. So the cities and stuff is going to be lit up like and colored a bit incorrectly. So here's purple. Alright, this is just to sort of give us some background to work with. Alright, cool. Whatever, got some stuff in the background. Now, we're just filling his colors. This is a concept art piece, so we're just going to be rush with this. You can always do certain special effects over the top to change the coloring of the character afterwards, which I might do. Using blending options and modes and stuff, which is really cool. Shit. Save you a lot of time. So like I said, I'm going to clean this guy up later, and I'll probably just keep doing him after the episode if you want to stay around. Clean him up. So, and then probably chuck a time lapse up as well. So I do a very finished picture. Chucking his ear back in. Okay, so I did want to steal the orange from here. Yoink. Oh man, I'm running out of time, so it's a bit hard to respond to the chat. Sorry. If my brother could field some random questions, that would be nice. So my brother is two-hit Adam on there, and we've been making games together for years, and he's probably seen this guy change costumes more often than I do. That's not something I should say on camera, but he I think it's right to get. It's important to get your characters right, and especially if you're gonna keep remaking it, so you might as well keep working on it till you get the one that you're right. Ideally, this is the storyline I really want to get out of me, and these are the characters I really want to push. So for me, this is if this all works out, this is my response back to Bastion and all that. I just he's a this is gonna be my guys. They're gonna be the ones who's gonna represent me. It's like yeah, okay, hey, like super, whatever. You guys who made like Bastion and Transistor, yeah, that was all good, but check out what I got. That's basically what I want out of this project. It's not asking much. Alright, so I just smashed in some colors. It's not the best way to do it. It's better to work for your coloring from colors in the environment. But because this guy's very just colors, 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 that I've used before, it's just what happens. It's alright. So, cool. So you sort of get an idea for him. Now, let's make him blend in with this world a bit more. So what I'm doing is just grabbing a color and just running it softly but everywhere. It's a really easy way to blend something into something else. You can start using strange coloring techniques from now if you really wanted to, but it's not for me. We might as well run with colors. They say if you can, like rather than referencing colors from here, if you can get good at, if you can get good at just slapping in, like picking colors out of this color picker and working it out from that, that you'll work out color theory quicker rather than always referencing the background. Plus, you'll naturally start putting in more different colors if you do it that way. So I recommend that if you start now and you want to get your color range up a bit more. We got these big like bright buildings behind, so let's just chuck these in. It just makes shit look cool. It's called backlighting, so it's like all the edges back behind that would happen to like pick up just a very tiny bit of light. It shows up quite brightly and just looks awesome, basically. Now I'll probably just do just general shading now. I'm still using a big brush. You can see how quick I can start smashing things out with a big brush. Even though his jacket's grey, I've still got a bit of red in there. And when I'm picking this highlight color, it's just more color. So you can see how messy I am. It's like I can clean it up all I want later, but I can get the look and feel of something very quickly by just smashing in stuff. And it's still looking like an okay picture. Like at this stage even though it's like messy as all hell, it's still producing something that I can go, this is what I'm trying to capture here. Oh yeah, occasionally I do use the eyedropper though, because it's just going to make life easier sometimes. Alright. The thing that bugged me once I worked this out was that there's like this comic artist that I like, and they're getting all these jobs and stuff, and then I looked at like I do something like this, and then I went back and looked at their style, and I'm like, crap, this is basically what they do. And then they spend like another 10 minutes on top of this, cleaning it up, and then that's just basically it. That's their art style, and that's what's getting them their jobs. I was like, crap, I could do that, but I don't. I just want to work on my own stuff, work on cool stuff with my brother. That'd be more rewarding, I think. All right, now let's put some fire in there. I'm using multiple layers for stuff when I start like experimenting with fire and stuff, so I don't like screw up anything. I can just undo it, just hide it again if I don't like it. Um, I know a lot of artists who don't work with layers and treat it old school, like a big painting, like canvas painting. But I think that's crazy. All right, so don't think I'll do too much more on this for the moment. That's what I sort of had in mind for the redesign. Um, right. Well, I'll continue on after I wrap up the episode. Uh, so I'll have to go over backgrounds later in another feed. That's alright. I have to get better at doing them anyway. Um, so let's wrap up the episode. We're only 7 minutes over. So, I might as well make a new layer for this stuff. So thanks for dropping in. So this is the first episode. The game world for this is going to be called Fate's End. You can dig up the existing comic if you want. Here, you get a feel for the type of content that you might see in the game when we get there and more of the world stuff. You can always check out my gallery here and my Twitter things here to hit that. If you want to watch this again in detail later, you can catch it at 2hitstudio.com. And if you really like what I did and you want like regular updates, you can go to what the hell size, make it smaller. If you want regular updates, you can go to my Patreon, which is /wandering. I think you can follow it without putting money in, but if you put money in, it will help like develop this game. I think I'm gonna devote the money from, well, the money in that I get from supporters goes back into making art and games and buying the tools of the trade to do this sort of stuff, like tablets, software, for some reason, physical stuff. Oh yeah, it's Fate's End, as in like someone's asking in the chat. Well, a mate of mine. So Fate's, and I'm not gonna clarify with exclamation mark or not. I haven't worked out if it's gonna be a person or this something in the story. Anyway, so what we've covered in today's episode was an intro and a character redesign. We covered the stuff that already exists in the world. Uh, and next episode uh, we're going to cover some of the potential ideas for gameplay and what the game world's going to look like. So we start getting into like more game related concept art. And then the second half of it, very similar to what I just did now, I'm going to do a character concept piece for the main bad guy, Lucky. So he's well overdue for something like this. So you'll be able to catch that as well. I should do a shout out for who's in the live thing. Just thanks to those who dropped in and caught it live. There's a couple of you. What else we gotta do? So this will be up online soon if you missed it. I don't know why I'd be saying this in the live one. But yeah, this will be up online again if you want to watch it again soon. And that's the end of this episode. We'll move on to game concepts and a bad guy concept soon. Uh, well, 11:11. That's the end of this episode. So you can sign out now if you want.